Hello and welcome to tonight's episode of the Automotive Trends Garage. Tonight we're going to kick things off with a quick video of the BMW 3 Series Coupe. All right. Let's take a look. Good afternoon. Today I want to tell you guys about a very fun two-door. No, not this one. That one. The 2011 BMW 335i Coupe. Under the hood is a 3-liter turbocharged and direct injected straight six, producing 300 horsepower and 300 pound-feet of torque, which is put to the pavement via a 6-speed manual gearbox and rear-wheel drive. This is pretty much the bread and butter of BMW's lineup, albeit in all its various forms: the sedan, the wagon, the convertible. This one here, more intentionally set up towards the sporty end of the spectrum. It's not the full-out sport because you can still get the 335 IS, but man, is this thing set up good. It's got the standard sport suspension, 19-inch wheels and tires, which the alloys look really good, mind you. These cars are meant to be driven. This isn't just some appliance that you pick up to local hardware and use for the daily commute 5 days a week. This is something that you buy to enjoy the drive. You buy it for the thrill of driving. Gosh, that's good. When pushed, the engine note is strong. You can hear the turbo spool up and blow off. Just enough so that you know you got something special. The nice thing about this car is, while it is special, it does handle really well. It's a great drive. You can take it to a track. You can use it as your daily driver. It doesn't punish you for that. This isn't exactly a bucket you're riding in. You've got leather seats. You've got, well, the iDrive, which is actually kind of annoying. But, it's got your sat-nav, Bluetooth, all the typical electronics of the day, automatic climate control, heated seats. You actually have the belt presenter here, which I've lovingly referred to as Jeffrey, just for the way he kind of hands me the seat belt. The dial, the gauges are beautifully simple and elegant. It's a car that's fun to drive, not overly showy, halfway decent on fuel, and just brings a lot of smiles. Amazing car. That's amazing.
It is as good as it's ever been, and getting better, actually.
And in a simple way too. I mean, it's got direct injection, it's got turbochargers, twin in fact, but it's
no, not anymore.
Oh, that's right. This is the single turbo. I keep forgetting. Yes.
New for 2011.
Right.
Change.
So it is simpler, but it's just it's not like the M5 where you've got to get in and then you've got 15 different driving programs to select from.
No,
you get in and you drive and you go. That's it. Just go.
I mean, that's true. There's no special suspension settings in this.
Nope.
6-speed manual makes that, the right way, and you can't screw that up. The brakes are fantastic. The turn-in, the steering is great.
Crisp and clean.
We really expected that thing to ride a lot worse than it did.
Oh, 19-inch wheels.
Yeah, well, with the 30 series sidewall.
But there are two major deficiencies with this car, at least when I had it. One, I disagree with you about Jeeves or whatever that little arm is. Because
Jeffrey?
The belt presenter is very helpful.
But not for somebody who buckles their seatbelt before they start the car, which is my habit, that has been my habit.
I know.
For 15
years.
And my wife gets after me, but I'm rolling down the driveway before I got my belt on.
Yeah, but if you owned the car, you would adjust to that.
Well, I would also learn where it is in the ground.
It's a long ways back there.
For you can. Yeah. You've got arms as long as this.
Jason sits up
as
by
my
the
driveway.
dash, but you sit back in the back seat.
I just have to have someone in the back seat to hand it to me, period. I'm so short.
The other problem with this car, which I have to point out, those tires
Are not going to make it in winter. You have to get snow tires.
That if you want to drive up Dye's driveway in that car in the winter, do not stop.
We have a
Do
picture
not
of
slow
that.
down.
Yeah, and that's in like an inch of snow. So if you were actually caught in a Michigan winter snowstorm, you might as well just drive into the ditch and just call 911 and be like,
Just pull over,
yeah,
call
Just-
AAA,
drive
call your
yourself.
wife, call Santa Claus, call someone, because you ain't going nowhere.
But actually, I mean, I wrote the review on it. There's a couple little things I nitpicked on. One is I think there could be a little more exhaust note to it.
True, that was pretty quiet.
It's a little too quiet inside. You know, if you crack a window, it sounds okay. It likes to rev. It's got a 7,000 RPM rev line, and it runs there
You
willingly.
did
But
the engine did have a good note to it,
Yeah.
even with the turbo noise.
you
So
should be able to hear more though when you're getting
Mhm.
it. But other than that, the seats were fairly comfortable. They had the adjustable side bolsters. They'd pinch you pretty good if you wanted to dial that in.
even my small frame
Yeah.
got
But
a little
other
tight.
than that, you know, there's decent room in this coupe. The back seat, I had a couple passengers back there, and you know, there's decent room back there. So you know,
The tow hook was a nice feature too. I really
we got to try the tow hook. Yeah.
She's all in one piece. Don't worry, we didn't
Yeah.
damage anything.
What did this sticker for though? I mean, they're not getting any cheaper. They charge you ridiculous. BMW charges
53?
52, something like that, 53. But I mean, they charge like $400 for an iPod cable, and you know,
Yeah, it's
you
a
pay
little
for the
flimsy thing.
you pay for like the sport package, and then there's two things within the sport package, but you pay even extra for the sport seats in the sport package.
Yeah.
They get you wherever they can.
I think
So
the
that-
paint was
that
$500.
gets annoying. Yeah, the blue paint was
Which
special.
is
So-
ridiculous. You're not gonna buy a car without paint.
So
What would you get Monaco blue?
yeah,
Yeah,
actually I like that color.
that was a good
a
color.
pretty
The
car.
color, the wheels. Oh,
The interior, yeah.
Great looking.
We liked it. The 3 Series continues to be a great driver's choice. Let's hope they continue to offer a true manual transmission. It really defines that car. And, you know, it drives as good as ever. The fuel mileage has improved a bit. That was a big part of my review. When they went to the twin turbo, they took a hit in
Right.
fuel efficiency. The
So,
single turbo now
losing a
has
turbo.
has that back up to actually a little above now where it was in naturally aspirated.
What did
engine
we
was.
get? Like
I don't know. I don't know what.
24,
Yeah,
25?
you probably would. It's
And
rated
that's
at
with
20.
us pushing it.
It's
pretty
rated at
good.
28 on the highway, I believe. So,
I
for
think I was closer to 28, but
yeah,
no surprise.
Sure you
there.
were.
stay out of
I
it.
wasn't.
Until the tires were just spinning in one spot in the driveway.
All right.
Nice.
But that wasn't the only car we drove this week.
Right. But we're going to save that to the end.
Are we saving the Murano for later?
Yes, we're going to save that to later, and
We're
we're going
gonna
to
do
move
the
on
news.
to the news.
Okay. Well,
So, first up,
a lot of New York Auto Show stuff
yes,
this week.
New York Auto Show.
In one big review, actually, we talked about it in the last episode. We had the
Chevelle.
teaser.
No,
No,
Malibu.
new Malibu.
actually, there's a lot of
Old Malibu.
old Malibu familiarity there, but
Yeah.
it is actually,
Yeah.
you know,
I mean,
what we're not seeing here is a good scale, because I think it is a fair bit smaller than the
The
current Malibu.
wheelbase is much smaller.
Right.
This car's
Overall,
gotten
the car
wider,
actually
though.
is not.
This car's gotten wider, and really all they've really adjusted is
Well,
the
it's
wheelbase.
it's
The
based
track is
on
wider.
the Regal
Right,
platform.
right.
And that car looks great in metal. We've said that time
Yes.
and time again. There's really no reason this car shouldn't.
No, absolutely not. I
And
mean,
from what we're seeing here, you know, basically
a
the
rear
same
shot.
theme,
Yeah.
but softer curves, a little more refined. It's kind of like
it's very
Smoother
pronounced.
fenders,
Yes.
Camaro taillights.
yeah. So this all looks fine. I'm not quite sure if we need this little kick right here,
Probably didn't need to be kicked up.
but
I bet that's going to look better in person
yeah, I
than
think
it does
will.
in the
It will.
photo.
Yeah, when we see these out on the road in a natural setting, this will probably work pretty well.
We do have an interior shot.
The interior.
Overall, the design, again, it's very familiar, but
Yeah.
fresh.
Camaro style gauges, that seems to be becoming a Chevy
Yeah,
trademark,
almost a-
because the Equinox has that too. and-
Yeah, it's basically a carbon copy of that kind of setup. But I'm not sure about the wood on the steering wheel.
Yeah.
That is an interesting tactic where they're almost going back to like the early 90s, late
Yeah.
80s, where they just fake wood on everything.
And that is
other
fake.
than- yeah, that is very fake.
I would hope so.
The other thing that might be a little overdone is these kind of grooves in here. It might be more than I needed, but if the material and quality
It breaks
has-
this up nice, but yeah, I'm
But if
not
the materials have
sure.
improved as much as other recent GM designs, it's going to be a nice cabin.
Mhm.
And if they hold the line on pricing, that's going to be a nice car. We know the Regal drives nice. There's no reason to think this shouldn't.
And there's no reason, I wouldn't think that this thing could be much too expensive since the Regal starts at around $26,000.
Right.
And the
Can only
Malibu
be
also is supposedly only being offered with
right.
four-cylinder engines
Only
now.
4 cylinders.
Yeah.
Same as the Regal.
Also going to be an eco model, just like the Cruise. They're
38 miles per gallon,
they're
you're
calling
saying?
for 38, and they're getting that with the help of their e-assist.
Right.
Kind
The
of thing they're
mild
putting in.
hybrid type
Yeah, the
thing.
same system
gonna
they're
be
putting
standard
in
in
the
the
loose.
LaCrosse.
Yes.
Correct.
So that's showing up here as well.
Thoughts on whether or not maybe one day, possibly someday, getting a manual in here? We've got it in the Regal.
You know,
GM's
that's
been
an
kind
interesting
of-
question. If GM were to go, I could see them not offering it in order to make the Regal a certain sporty niche.
I could see that.
I could also see them offer it for the purposes of competing better with the Accord Camry, that sort of
Fusion,
crowd.
you can get a
Fusion you
manual.
can in the
Fusion.
4-cylinder only.
Well, this is going to be 4-cylinder.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess from an enthusiast standpoint, I hope they do, although new Sonata, 4-cylinder only, tried to simplify everything, no manuals.
That's true.
In that, right? So, it would
Like I
actually
said,
surprise
most
me.
normally I'd say no, but because there is a
I
manual
would like
available
to
with the
see-
Regal,
Has anybody seen the take rate on the manual and the Regal? I just,
it's got to be low.
I'm hoping
I mean,
it's
it's got to
enough
be like
to-
infinitesimal.
I know. I'm afraid that's what it is, and I'm just afraid that this is another of these failed experiments where they said, you asked for a manual, we gave it to you, nobody buys them. It's not happening
Right.
next time, folks. And I'm wondering, if they're waiting for some more numbers to come back before deciding what to do with the Malibu or what. But I'm just hoping enough of you enthusiasts out there are buying the manual Regal to make it worthwhile. Are we getting a manual in the Verano? We are, aren't we?
Yes.
The Verano's supposed to come
See,
with a manual, and that's the interesting thing.
they
You
made-
offer
yeah.
manuals,
And
But
then-
Chevy not.
But of course, it's a different market than it was back in the day when Buick phased out their manuals, when it was simply an economy
Yeah.
standpoint.
Right, now where
from the
it's
different
a-
models of the domestics. Now it's a performance perspective.
Premium almost.
Exactly. So I could see GM saying, Malibu is for the mainstream,
Yeah.
Regal is for that sporty niche, and who knows? We don't know.
I don't know.
We'll see.
No word on a manual yet from Chevy.
We'll
Moving
see.
on, what
But
else we got? Oh, Ford Taurus. Now,
Got an
They
early
fixed
refresh.
it already?
I know.
yes.
This is a 2013 model, they're saying. That won't
Didn't
be
let
on
much
sale
grass
till
grow
next
underneath
year.
of it, did they?
No, this was kind of a surprise, really.
Which,
I thought.
I'm not sure it's a good surprise.
It's not a huge
This
facelift,
is-
really. We're talking
no,
grill work.
It
basically.
is. It's all plastic work, right? But I'm not sure that's as
But
graceful.
let me tell you what I think is good about this. I think in the headlights, I see a lot of Mustang there. And I think Ford might be doing the same thing Chevy's doing with the Malibu. Trying to
I
pattern
could
their
see that.
family sedan to give it some styling cues linked to their hot product.
Yeah.
I could see that.
I mean, you're not mistaking that for a Mustang by
No.
any means. It's big, bulky, and loaded. But
And
But-
its tail shoots up to
the
infinity.
details
beyond.
do give you some styling, some subtle styling links.
Well, speaking of hot model,
Yeah. They've updated
there's
the
their
show,
hot
too.
model.
Yeah, and see that.
And I
grill
think that
like-
looks worse than the base model.
I don't think so. It's got the mesh grill like a Crown Victoria Interceptor.
I know,
Well,
but
okay.
where is
Yeah.
Ford getting this design?
Yeah.
We've spent all this time establishing this 3-bar design, which by most accounts, most people like.
well,
but
that's-
isn't that what's coming out on like we're seeing on the European Fords?
Well, as of a few years ago, but now, well, I'm trying to picture.
All the trucks had this mesh, like 98,
Oh, you're talking about the
99.
mesh. I thought you were talking about the shape.
Oh, the shape. Well, yeah, the shape,
this
is
does not
very
look like a
European, but
Ford
it's not.
product to me.
Well, it's.
I'm also not. Yeah, it might grow on me.
But Jason, you hated the chrome 3-bar design.
I did, but
But that has grown on me, and now I think it's the Ford face
I don't know.
that
It's
I want.
just it's
It's so
this.
weird
It's
you
very
guys are
devoid of
making
anything.
I'm not.
I don't know.
To me, it's a
what's going on
facelift.
here?
I don't know. And
Yeah,
I think there was
that's what
very
it is.
slight.
They brought in over some Explorer technology with this touch.
Yeah,
touch,
not a whole
center
lot going
console,
new
so
on the interior, and
They didn't up the power.
nothing
That's
on the
what
show.
we were expecting.
No, but the improvement we did get is you can now get the 2-liter turbo EcoBoost
Wow.
in the base model.
Yeah. And by now you mean sometime in 2000.
13, 12,
Well,
whenever.
this goes on sale like a whole year from now.
Exactly.
I don't know really why
Why
they
would
showed
they
this
have showed
so
this so
early.
early?
I don't understand that.
Well, the Malibu was a 2013. I don't know. Anyways, moving on.
Beetle.
Beetle, not a new Beetle,
Yes,
even
sir.
though it is a new Beetle, but it's not being called the new Beetle.
It's not a new Beetle.
No, it's
the new Beetle.
And Eric, you had a lot to say on the Beetle in a design critique.
They have, in my design critique, it is almost like they read my mind. Because every single aspect of this car that I thought needed to be adjusted, make the hood longer, bring the A-pillar back, lower the, don't give us just a sweeping arc all the way.
Straight down door.
Yeah,
extension.
it doesn't encroach upon the, and they've even said, you know what, with this model, we've gone back and we've looked at the original and we've tried to say, well, what would this look like, in the new millennium and in the second decade of the new millennium? And this is what we think it would look like. They didn't try and evolve the 1998 new Beetle.
Yeah.
They went back to the original. Which I
which
think
was
great.
fun and cute
Right,
and
in
right
19
for the time.
Right, in 1998, that's what a Beetle would have looked like.
Yeah, the retro craze
Right.
was in full swing and everything.
But now this, and I would also say, Chrysler has been promoting the Dodge Caravan or Grand Caravan as the man van.
Yeah.
I would say this is kind of the man Beetle.
Yeah, well,
It's
they're definitely doing that on purpose. The marketing
far
behind this
more-
car, the press releases
we have
and
a rear
everything,
shot? What do we
they
have?
keep talking about the
Yeah.
performance, the 18-inch wheels, 19, maybe even something along those lines. Big
Well,
wheels.
they're giant. They're
Um,
huge.
Yeah, I mean, they are definitely trying to push that aspect of it. Whereas we know that failed with the last car.
Well,
you
yeah.
can't get a flower vase next
Yeah,
to your
there-
steering
there's no
wheel
flower
anymore.
base in the interior. This looks like a GTI.
Yeah,
is
so
what it looks
you
like.
see
Well,
those
it needs
gauges
flat,
up
but
here.
otherwise,
Well,
yes.
yeah.
Well,
I bet.
And the other
I
thing
like the plaid.
That's very.
I do too.
I love the plaid. I thought you didn't like the plaid.
I love
I
plaid.
know you like it on your shirt.
He's ripped the seats out of the Volkswagen and he's wearing them.
The instrument panel on this, I think, also gives us a nice throwback to the later Beetles. That actually, I didn't like the interior so much because they were all black plastic. But this is like a nice update to that,
Yeah.
rather than going to the cutesy look, which was fine. But again, this looks more upscale, more expensive.
Yeah, it really does, and that's one thing that was missing from this, where we've seen Volkswagen recently with the Jetta, with the Passat going down market,
Right.
lowering base prices. I mean, they made no mention of that in this launch of this vehicle at the auto show. I'm thinking.
They spent all their money here, didn't have any left for the Jetta.
I'm thinking, that is not going to be their main focus. They're not worried about getting the entry price down any lower. They're basically targeting. I think they're going to go after performance really, and try to capture some young male sales.
We
This
don't get the Scirocco.
we don't have the Scirocco, and the GTI is getting pretty pricey these days. Really.
Right.
I mean,
So
you're getting
it's
close
kinda
to 30.
slots
if you've
in
got
down
the
under
options.
there.
If this is going to come in.
What engine
less than
is
that.
this going to have?
I think it's the 2.0.
The 2.0?
I don't have all the specs in front of me, but I'm pretty sure it's a 2.0. Whether or not, I think it's actually the lower output 2.0. I don't think it's the new 211 horse. that
Well,
Audi
that's
uses.
fine.
Still a great engine.
I'm just fearful that we're going to get the 5-cylinder. We're going to get this great-looking new Beetle.
I
We're
don't-
going to get this hot-looking
Ooh.
interior, and then they're going to stick that
I don't-
boat anchor in there.
I should have brushed stuff on it right before we
Yeah, anyway.
shot it.
All right.
I don't think the 5-cylinder is involved. Hopefully,
All right. Next.
some performance.
Yes.
American performance, big V8.
400
Do you think
and...
that's photoshopped on the track?
Hemi.
You know, it kind of looks like
I
that.
think probably, because
Is anybody really going to take an SRT8 Chrysler 300
The light
on the track?
isn't
the whole
exactly...
background looks like it's a pull down at like the Sears portrait studio. They just pull down the racetrack. And that's what it looks like. All these trees don't have any definition or anything.
There
But
is a little bit of a wrinkle right there.
Yeah. Some bubble gum stuck to this grass.
Anyways.
Yeah, we got off topic.
Sorry.
6.4
This is the 6.4
liter now, and it's
bigger
400 and...
A lot.
460
horse.
something like that.
Wow, we're brilliant. Anyways,
It's hard to memorize the stuff the way it changes these days.
LEDs, lamps,
Yeah,
and
and you know,
fixtures.
we're starting to see a lot of these on the
Xenons.
road around us here, and this car,
Well, yeah.
it looks good.
Auburn Hills is right
Yeah,
there.
No, I'm just saying
Chrysler
that
Tech Center is
they're out in
there.
customer hands, and they look good.
They do.
Bentley grill.
The other
SRT8,
SRT
Grand
model.
Cherokee.
Are you sure that's not just a Compass?
I'm
yeah,
sure.
now that you've said that, it's
It
really
is funny. I mean, obviously it's not a Compass, but it was interesting. They facelifted the Compass to look like the Grand Cherokee. And
Yeah.
one of the ways they did that was they didn't just make the headlights look like they were off the Grand Cherokee.
They gave them
They
the headlights.
were off the Grand Cherokee,
Right.
like
and
the base model.
now the headlights look too small on this.
But the
Well,
grill-
that's because they made this just...
well, the
massive.
headlights have always,
Stupid big.
Actually, I've always thought the headlights looked a bit small on this new Grand Cherokee. It kind of looked like a 1990s concept car, because in the 90s the concept cars kept on getting smaller headlights. And
True.
later on we started, when they started jeweling the headlights and stuff, they made them bigger because it's more of a design feature. But what makes this look like a Compass was the distinguishing feature of the Compass, just appearance-wise from the front, was that it didn't have the all-chrome seven-side grille. It was body-colored with the little chrome inserts and
Right.
seven slats. Well, now the Grand Cherokee has that, which I think is a good differentiator for the SRT8 versus the regular Grand Cherokee, but now it has the accidental or unfortunate look of the junior unloved.
Well, I
happened
don't
to the unloved
think-
Jeep.
I have a hard time believing that anyone's going to mistake that for a...
Yeah.
Well, not your
Compass.
person who's actually buying it, but what
True.
about the image of?
I mean, yeah, it's an aggressive-looking vehicle. Actually, I don't love these wheels, really. I don't know.
They're a little bit...
Unexpected.
They look a little dainty, I guess.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking. For a big truck Jeep with a lot of torque and horsepower, you think, oh, big, thick
Well,
spokes,
think
and they're
about what
like
the spokes
little
look like
spindly
on the
little
SRT8
buggers.
300.
Yeah, but those are nice. See, those are big and meaty and thick.
That's what I'm saying. Those are.
And
what you'd
those are
expect.
like-
These are not.
Oh, right,
I'm agreeing
right.
with you.
Right. These are like
If you can believe that.
This-
running around on little chicken legs.
Yeah. The other thing they've lost here, we got a shot of it, is the center dual exhaust was
Oh,
kind of a
good
design
gravy.
feature of the last model. It's well
It
known
was,
for
yeah, but
that.
then you can't tow with it. Tow it on.
Nobody was towing
You're
with
not-
the SRT8 Grand Cherokee.
I don't wanna
If they
tow with
were,
this
they
anyway.
should be shot.
Well, of course they weren't because they didn't have the opportunity.
Actually, I think they did come out with an aftermarket.
Yeah, it was
car
like,
thing, right? Well, yeah, but it worked if you really
So you
want
have
to
the
do
best
that.
of both worlds.
This
Yeah.
works, I guess. It's just not as
Those
distinctive.
pipes are just
They're pretty
huge.
huge. It's just not as distinctive, but
No.
but it's there. It works. I'm sure
This
it sounds
is-
fine.
So again, 6.4 liter Hemi.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
With the same numbers we don't remember.
Right.
Well, I think it's just a bit less, I think, than what they put in the Challenger. The Challenger, the 392 Challenger, is 470 horse. I think they're rating these at 465.
That would make sense.
Don't quote me. I think that's the way it's working.
Hey, that's the end of the news.
That was a lot of news.
That was a lot of news. And now it's time for the design wall.
All right.
All right, let's head over there. Okay.
Okay, so last time we said that Gernand would get the opportunity to fix a mistake, let's say.
You get one move before you see this week's cars.
And it's not even necessarily a mistake. As the wall fills up, things just need to change positions because of
Right.
Okay,
but you
the
still
wall's
have to
not
live
full
with your
yet.
error.
the focus is moving. Focus is
Well,
moving.
he's not at all taking any time on that.
No, it's a big improvement over the previous Focus, but after seeing the 3 Series up here and some of these other vehicles, it just went too high. It's still an economy car, and it still
And it does have this
looks like
this
it.
grill, lower grill.
Yeah,
stuff.
that catfish
like
grill.
I like it.
It's okay, it works, but not good enough.
Okay.
We're putting it right
All right.
here.
All right. So first up on the docket.
Oh, Mercedes SLS Gullwing.
I don't like it.
Oh, why not?
Because, well,
What's not to like? You got the gull wings, you got the red
okay,
interior, you
but
got
but just because you have gull wing doors does not make it a beautiful car.
The rear is a little wimpy.
Actually, you know what the rear kind of looks like?
But the rear, okay.
You know what
now
the rear
take
kinda
the
looks
old
like?
car and put it
And
next
put a
to
Buick
the new.
Riata on the back of
No.
the old
Oh
car.
yeah, Buick Riata. He's got a point there.
Okay,
And
then-
secondly,
yeah.
gull wing doors, a beautiful car does not make. Because
It does not make.
we had the
It
DeLorean, which is kind of cool because it could travel through time, and it had gull wing doors. But other than that, come on, really? And then the Bricklin had gull
what
wing doors
about
as well.
those? How does the gull wing doors detract from the overall beauty of the car?
They don't, but it doesn't make it a beautiful car. This car,
Right, I didn't
if
say
it had
that.
conventional doors, would look just as awkwardly designed. This is not beautiful. It has some potentially good proportions, but it's very clumsily styled. Mercedes-Benz can and
I think
has
it's
done
brilliant.
better. This is a better designed car from top to bottom, styling-wise. It's not as dramatic. It's not as exotic. But that is well proportioned. That is well styled. That is well detailed. This is not.
So where does it go?
Low.
Okay.
It goes higher than the F-250 Super Duty
Oh,
and higher than the GTR.
well, I would hope so. That sucker fell out of the ugly tree and had every branch on the way down.
After it got run over by the Super Duty. It's
Yet you
no-
placed it higher. Anyways, we're talking about the
No,
Mercedes.
I'm putting the Mercedes-Benz
All by itself over there.
over here by its lonesome. It'll probably get some other exotic cars that aren't pretty either to go around it.
All right. Here's a very exotic car.
Chrysler 200.
Imported from Detroit.
Okay.
Also
This is
known-
Detroit. This is what we do. Don't mind the Volkswagen hat. I've never even owned a Volkswagen.
Wondered why you were wearing the hat.
Well, it says drivers wanted. It's the whole thing, drivers wanted. I don't know. I like the motto. Okay, so
We talked about Volkswagen. didn't
we did.
Anyways, we're talking about the Chrysler
not
200.
new Beetle. Chrysler 200. They did a lot with a design that was really bad.
That.
The Chrysler Sebring was a really bad design. They had tried to take the styling of the Crossfire
Oh, yeah.
and put it on a sedan that was tall, narrow, and short. And it didn't work. And it was very clumsily styled.
They
Chrysler
even dropped. Remember, it had those strakes.
strakes
in
on the hood.
and they dropped.
They got rid of
after.
those pretty fast.
Yeah.
Well, the strakes were on the hood of the Pacifica too.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
they dropped
sure.
those on the Pacifica the last model year.
Yeah.
That's one of those little bits of automotive
Just
trivia.
kidding.
But anyway,
Very quiet.
we're talking about the 200.
Yes.
And
Which does
big
not
improvement.
have strakes on the hood.
No, big improvement. Nice detail to the grille. Nice detail to the headlights. The interior is much improved. All these sort of things. So now a contender, but really the shape of this car is still. I mean,
too
when you think about some other
The
cars we've been
greenhouse
talking
too
about.
high.
Narrow. And
Yeah.
short.
When think about some of the other midsize sedans we've been talking about, Buick Regal, the new Malibu,
Very well proportioned.
Ford Fusion. This just isn't there. It's competitive with these in some significant ways, but
The front is looking good. The back is looking good. There's some
bit in
awkward
the
bits
middle.
in the middle.
Not so good.
It'll hold. I think this will hold Chrysler over until.
It's not an embarrassment anymore.
No.
It has
No,
very
not at all.
good design elements.
Details.
Yep.
Yes. But not
All right.
overall. All right.
Hit it with
Next.
something else.
All right.
Cadillac
CTS sedan. Interesting that you didn't give me a Coupe or a wagon.
Well, we debated a little bit, but we gave that one to you on purpose because the others are much more dramatic.
Well, you know what's interesting
And
is
this has been around a while.
That's the breadwinner.
Right.
The CTS, you really have to approach the sedan, coupe, and wagon as individual models and not just a lineup. Which truthfully, the 3 Series, I would do the same.
Exactly.
Well, the sedan and wagon, I think I'd lump together, and the coupe separately.
Yeah, I would.
I would
Okay.
because,
They don't have unique tail lights really, or anything
No,
like that,
yeah,
as opposed
true.
to the CTS.
So the CTS sedan though, I'm always looking for the coupes and the wagons as I see them go by. But the CTS sedan still makes me look twice when one passes me on the highway, and I get passed a lot because I don't drive that fast. But
True.
but
It is Fiat.
this is a very well styled car. It looked good the day it came out. The first gen model looked good when it came out. When this came out, it made the old gen model look old very quickly. And it was amazing because the old one didn't look old until it got its replacement.
Yeah.
So this is excellent design. It's maybe not as exciting as a Camaro, definitely not as dramatic as the Gran Turismo, but I think prettier than a SRT8 Charger, and so therefore it's getting a pretty high ranking on this wall.
That is definitely the undisputed breadwinner for Cadillac. The car
agreed.
that reversed the fortunes of the company in the 2000s.
Well, I think you discussed that in a.
Oh yeah, this is the modern day DeVille.
Right.
I mean, even though it's a smaller
the flagship
car.
of the brand, really.
Well, flagship.
Yeah,
I don't think I'd say
I know what you're trying to
flagship,
say.
but it
It's
is the
the lifeblood of the
Yeah,
brand.
it is.
the CTS is to Cadillac what the 3 Series is to BMW.
Right.
It's the center of
Well, right.
it's the center of what
So not
represents the brand.
flagship, but it carries the Cadillac car.
Yeah. Are we done?
We're done.
Uh-huh.
No, we have.
Oh,
We have one more.
well, can't we end on a high note?
Well, this one could be high.
I think you can see through the
It's high
paint.
revving.
It's very bright.
Well, it's orange with black wheels, so therefore it goes way down with the GTR.
Because clearly exotics
What color
all
should it
hold
be?
to the bottom.
I mean, what would you, if you had...
Well,
been given that car?
Lamborghinis, I think a yellow Lamborghini is
Oh.
kind of nice.
I
Wait,
could
you
see
like
that.
yellow but not orange?
Well, not with black wheels.
Orange is kind of obnoxious.
This
Yellow is
orange-
just
this
like,
orange
look
is-
at me.
What? That
Yellow.
makes no sense at all.
Yellow, they paint school buses yellow so that you see them,
Right. I
as if they
said.
weren't big enough.
Right. It's a look at me color. It's not an obnoxious color.
I'm
Oh, I thought
totally
you were
fine
saying-
with that
I'm
orange.
here, but I'm going to
Okay.
light your hair on fire,
I
too.
am not a fan of black wheels, so
Okay.
I would change that.
Okay, so I would say I love the Countach back in the 80s. I had a poster of one on my wall,
Me too.
and I still have that poster. It's been reframed and it's
no.
on my wall.
You had tractor posters, didn't you? Yeah, tractor posters at the Mark
John
We
Deere.
don't make tractor
They
posters.
do, too.
If you cut the front cover of a Farm and Fleet calendar off, that's not a tractor poster.
All right.
Okay,
we're
well,
bringing it back to
anyway.
the car show. It is a car show. We are getting back to.
Lamborghini made tractor.
Once you go deer,
No.
you never go back.
Don't bring that up.
Okay. Oh, all of a sudden the Porsche connection makes sense now too. Why do you like Porsches? They made tractors.
Most of them made tractors. That's where
I'm
everybody
only
gets
hurting
started.
things. Okay, never
Ford
mind.
made tractors.
We're gonna blot that out of the editing. Anyway, yeah, the dual A pillars on this. I don't know. The
But you don't
Diablo and the
see 'em as bad
Murcielago.
in this.
But they
I know,
figured
they're
out how to
there.
do it without it.
I know.
This has got a lot of Reventon in the front, but
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I think a lot of
Stealth
the
fighter
a
thing
lot of the
going on there.
details and angles on this are not I don't think they're fully realized.
Yeah, they're not classic. I
No,
guess I don't know. It's a
no.
very
We'll see how this ages.
yeah. That's a good way to say it.
But right now I'm going. I like the Murcielago. I like the Gallardo. I mean, I like the Murcielago. I like the Diablo.
I don't
like
think
the
it's
Countach.
different enough.
Oh, I didn't want it to be too different. But I don't think this improved it. So it's gonna go. It's gonna clearly go above the Super Duty, and I feel like I'm on the Price is Right playing the game with the yodeler guy, you know.
Yeah.
And he's going up, and I'm going.
Above the SLS?
Whoa, it's going way up there.
Oh, definitely above the SLS. You make me want to put it right here to make it obvious.
All right, so we're back here now.
I guess.
Yeah. A little technical difficulty. The Aventador has been placed.
Aventador.
I rolled my R really well on the first go around too. Now that our viewers are not going to be able to do it, because I'll never be able to duplicate that.
Try it. Try it right now. Aventador.
Aventador. I've never been able to roll my R's.
Okay.
Aventador.
Yeah, that
like
sounds
a cat
forced.
purring.
Anyways,
Yeah, okay.
so we're done with the design wall. It's
Yeah,
up.
good.
And now we're going to talk about the Murano, which you discussed, right? Yes.
Yeah, I was disgusted. Oh,
Anyways, all right.
All right, let's see what he had to say.
so here we are in Midwest suburbia, tooling around in a Nissan Murano. The Murano was one of the earlier crossovers to the premium, upscale, suburban market. And when it came out, I think people like myself were a little bit skeptical about it, largely because it really didn't make sense. It was a truck based on a car platform, kind of oxymoronic in some ways. But really, I think as cars have continued to get less practical, the crossover has really started to fill in where the station wagon once did. And so this vehicle, when put in the context of just something not for the enthusiast, someone who just wants to, kind of stick out as being maybe a little bit out of the ordinary, the Murano sure fits the bill. Nissan has been doing some very bold designs lately, whether it be the Murano, whether it be the Quest, whether it be the Maxima. Designs, or the Juke also comes to mind. None of these cars are beautiful. The Murano sure isn't. But it's distinctive. It doesn't blend like maybe a Ford Escape or a Ford Edge or something like that. Venza, which we've also driven. Yeah, this is engineering mediocrity with a little bit of styling flair. Now, the Nissan Murano comes equipped with a 260 horsepower V6 with 240 foot-pounds of torque. Not too shabby for a crossover. Nothing that's going to burn up the pavement, though, either. We have some fairly basic engines from some of Nissan's domestic competitors. I think the Chrysler 3.6 comes to mind that puts out more power than that, but still not too bad. The one thing that has always caught us a little bit off guard with this vehicle is the CVT. CVT is not generally known as being the enthusiast transmission of choice. In theory, over an automatic, a CVT should be preferred by the enthusiast because it, in theory, is able to achieve your optimal peak torque and horsepower just by being able to have an infinite number of gear ratios, so to speak, that match the engine speeds. This one, not too bad, not too great. It is interesting in that it does not have really precise shift points. Some CVTs have been designed to have such things because owners are used to hearing the vehicle shift. This does slide into gears pretty nicely. So it's a fairly nice piece of automatic equipment. Nothing too spectacular, but something quite livable as well. Looking around at the interior on this Murano, it's kind of a hodgepodge of high quality and low quality. Nice soft armrests, both on the door and on the passenger or on the center console. We have some interesting metallic-looking plastics around the climate control. That's kind of interesting. Not overly compelling, but interesting. In addition, we've got a nice leather steering wheel, which feels to be pretty high quality. But then we're marred a bit with some cheaper-looking soft plastics. They are soft, but some cheaper-looking bits and pieces amongst the leather and the higher quality stitching on the armrest. So not a great interior, but neither is it horrible. But one of the things that I would have to say about the Murano is I really don't like crossovers. And this is, I think, just when I combine the price of this vehicle, $39,000, with its limited utility being a 5-passenger vehicle, and then just thinking about how you've got this increased ride height over a normal sports sedan, I just don't understand the segment. This vehicle is probably very good in the segment, but I have a hard time understanding the appeal of the vehicle overall. And in fact, I did get a comment today from a passerby who said, what kind of vehicle is this? I said, well, it's a Nissan Murano. And they said, they managed to make it uglier. And, I must give Nissan credit for coming up with something that's unique looking and not bland. The Japanese, I'm afraid, have quite the deserved reputation of building ordinary looking vehicles, especially if you look at Honda and Toyota. Nissan has deviated from that, thankfully, but they have managed to make some very ugly vehicles in the process. So the Murano, not pretty, very distinctive, but not sure that it really benefits from that added character. So what do we really have? A middle-of-the-road crossover that does nothing exceptionally well, does nothing exceptionally poorly, and also looks very strange. So, yeah, the Murano,
Apparently doesn't do anything well, does it?
It doesn't do anything. It's exactly what a crossover, I think, is designed to be. It's
Agreed.
It kind of fits the middle of the road. It's not a big boat towing SUV. It's not a sports sedan. It's not.
It's full of compromise.
Yeah.
About the only thing this one has that makes it stand out in any way really is the styling, and whether or not you like it or you don't, it does have style.
It has style.
Yep.
You cannot argue with that.
And Nissan has had some more polarizing designs than the Murano. I mean, the Juke, for example, and I think the last Quest van was probably a little bit less appealing, I think, to the mainstream. So, the fact that I don't like the look of the Murano, there's probably some people that are drawn to it for exactly the same reason I'm not. So that's subjective.
I thought
but
the engine was good.
It was okay.
It wasn't spectacular, but it was.
I'm not a CVT fan.
It's really surprising though when you think about it. Nissan, for I can't remember how many years it was, had their V6 was on the Ward's 10 Best engine for like 12 model years in a row, which was like unprecedented. And so the fact that now it's starting to kind of trail the competition is maybe unexpected.
Yeah, I mean, for the size it is, at that 260 horsepower, it's not breaking any records there. So
No.
They've got some work to do on that front. The CVT, I can report that, although I've never been a fan, this one is not bad. By the breed,
the only
this was
one I'd say that stood above it head and shoulders, and it's probably the same one, the tuning of the vehicle, was the Maxima.
Yeah.
The CVT and the Maxima.
Well, they had pedal shifters.
Right, so it had like
Simulated
pre-programmed
gears.
positions, which were probably just ranges, really,
Yeah.
where
yeah.
it could fall to. You know, that one I felt was.
But see, the problem with
better.
this is, I mean, this even with the CVT and this, not exactly overly powerful V6 by modern standards, they didn't get great gas mileage.
What did it get?
No, it did not.
I mean, right
think
around the 20 range, wasn't it?
it was in the low 20s.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking
So-
like 2021 from what I saw on it. So that's.
And if you compare that
For
to
a
like
true
a
crossover?
Terrain or Equinox,
Yeah.
which we got 24, 25.
Little smaller vehicles, but still,
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean,
But they're only 5 passenger. The cargo's
agreed,
very
agreed,
similar.
agreed,
So, I mean,
agreed.
Anyways,
the stereo, although Bose unit was not great, pretty muddy sound actually. Did have a pretty nice, like the nav system had the built-in weather. You could get radar maps. You could get.
it's not like you're landing planes.
It was pretty advanced though. I really liked that. That was kind of neat. You got a 3-day forecast, stuff like that. It was kind of.
Giving you something that other people aren't. That's,
Yeah, it
that's
was-
something.
That is something.
It was neat. But
Just gotta
other than
wear
that,
blinders as you walk up to it. Am I there yet? Am I there yet?
yeah, I don't think it looks that bad. But
No.
now that it's been out on the market for a while, actually I thought it was a pretty blue color. Helped with the bid
Agreed,
and
yeah.
stuff. But I don't know. We're just not moved by it. I guess I feel really that there are just better options, probably for less
Ford
money.
Edge.
Well,
That's
that'd
not
be-
the first one that comes to my
No.
mind, but
we'd have to do a comparison on that,
Yeah.
I guess, and really drive them back to back. But certainly
Mazda
there are ones that have more
CX-7.
power, or there are ones that have better fuel economy, or there are ones that have better styling by most standards. There are,
It's
so
in the middle of the road.
yeah.
All right.
yeah. Yep.
So
I think that's about all we have
I
this week.
think that wraps up tonight.
We'll try to get our technical difficulties ironed out for episode 4. And
Or join us to see what's not ironed out.
see what new problems we develop next week.
All right.
But I think that's it. So
That's
in the
it.
meantime, keep reading everything Automotive Trends. Oh, wait.
Yep. Good night.
No, wait. We got.